Hey guys, in this video I kind of want to talk about renting an apartment or like buying a house or something like that. I've been renting for 7 years, 6 years, something like that. And I mean, it's not that I didn't know like when I started, but now I have a more broad vision of what you should be looking for or how you should be looking for something, especially based on your way of living or something or stuff like that. So what I'm trying to say is a lot of people they rent apartments because they're in a very nice area and or because it looks pretty, but a lot of times that is not very cost effective. What I mean by that is like, for example, I don't know if you're living in, let's say, Houston downtown area, apartments are like $2,000 for a two-bedroom apartment or one-bedroom apartment. You're paying around $1,000 if you're sharing for someone. For a small apartment that honestly, this is just my personal opinion, is just not worth it. Because this is just me again. Like for me, this time I spend in my apartment is probably like 20 or 30% of the day. I literally just go there to sleep and maybe watch videos and do this type of thing and read a little bit. But even when I'm in my apartment, I don't really need a big apartment or anything like that. Most of the time I'm on the computer, working out, reading something, studying, and that's about it. Like sometimes, yes, like if a person is coming into my apartment, yeah, I mean, you need a little more space, but that's a very isolated case, and it's not like I'm gonna be, like we're not gonna be doing like a yoga workout or something, or like, leaving a lot of space, like a big party. Where usually when I do a meetup in my apartment, it's usually like a couple of friends, like some drinks, like maybe a cookout or something like that. My point is like, think about the amount of space you need before renting or buying a place. So for example, if you're a family, like let's say your wife, or like your husband, if you're a woman, and you have 2 or 3 kids, then yeah, you probably need more space than me. For example, for me, it's just me, I'm single. I don't really need a lot of space, especially because I travel a lot and I go out all the time, no party necessarily. I don't really feel the need to have like a very big space. Now, with that being said, you do want to be close to the things that you do. So for example, for me, I personally always love living like at least 5 or 10 minutes from work, because that's the place you're every day driving, and a lot of times you need to consider the cost of that. So for example, the way I like to consider the rent and if it's worth it is like, for example, what is the price bump from living in a cheaper place and the savings in gas and the savings in time. So for example, right now I'm paying very little money for this apartment, and it's a 2-bedroom, but getting to work takes like 40 minutes, and sometimes getting back from work takes like 50. One time it took me like 65 minutes. So that's like already like 1 hour and a half of my day. So times 7, that's already like, I don't know, I don't have my calculator here, but it's like 7, 8, 9, 10, like 11 hours, something like that, a week of just driving, which I hate, like. So for example, the way I think about it is like, okay, how much 1 hour of my time is worth? And I do it like salary wise. So for example, how much am I getting paid on an hourly basis? And then you multiply that by the hours that you're driving. And that gives you an estimate of how much money you are saving or wasting by driving to work. So for example, in my case, like the rent that I make plus the amount of money the rent that I pay plus the amount of money that I'm saving or like spending from driving, it kind of evens out, so it kind of makes it worth it. Now it also depends on how much you value your time. Right now I'm done with my leasing this apartment, so I'm gonna be looking for an apartment very close to my work, and the rent is way higher there. But at the same time, I think I value my time a little better than other people. Personally, I'd rather have more time than money. I would be happier with less salary, but if I work less, not because I'm lazy, but because I always have other things to do, and when I don't have enough time for myself, I just don't have time to do those things. Like for example, like a typical day for me is right now, I wake up, shower, change, go to work, come back, sleep, wake up, work out, go to sleep. I really don't have time for anything else. Maybe I read a book or something before going to sleep. But I really don't have time for like, developing new skills or like picking up a new hobby or stuff like that, because work and the time it takes me to get ready and driving, that's already like 12 hours of my day, and then I come back and I'm so exhausted, I just go to sleep. if I live close by, that would be already like 1 hour that I would be saving. That hour, it's just an extra hour a day. So you need to consider that for you if that's something that you care about. Now, what is important to you? For example, some people like having a huge space. I don't know why. If having a huge space in your apartment is important to you, then you should consider that. You should consider maybe like a place a little far away but has a bigger space. And you also need to be very conscious of your salary and how much you can afford. So for example, if you have a salary of 55,000, let's say that's just like an average entry-level salary for recent graduate or something like that. Maybe a little below if you're in a smaller town or in a more niche place. With that amount of money, paying, let's say, $1,000 per month for an apartment is very prohibitive. You can afford it and you can do it, but you will be cutting off a lot of things. Maybe what you should be looking for is maybe an apartment that is a little on the cheaper side and maybe not as pretty and doesn't have a lot of things that you want. But I don't know, find something for $600. That's $400 per month that you will be saving for other things. So you need to be very conscious and actually write it down. Like write down the cost, write down all the hours that you're going to be saving. Because getting a new apartment or getting a new house is very important. The same thing, if you're going to get a new house, see how much you're going to be paying every month. See how long it will take you to pay it off, like 7 years, 25 years, 30 years, I don't know. Personally, I would not take like a house that will take me 25 years. I'd rather take a house that like maybe it's on the cheaper side, maybe it's on the smaller side, but I will be done with it like maybe in 5 or 6 years. Because after that, it's your profit. Like maybe you want to move to a bigger house, you can start renting that house. So the other house will kind of pay for itself, And you also need to consider that when renting another apartment. Maybe it's better to buy a house than renting an apartment. Now, my thing with this is, for example, if you're gonna get a new job or if you're transferring to a new city, hold off into buying a house, because maybe it's better for you to get an apartment if you're single or like with a girlfriend or something. Maybe it's better for you to get an apartment, and then after you feel safe with the new area, you feel like the people around and like the nice areas, and then you feel you like the job and you're gonna be living there for a while, then maybe you'd make the jump into getting a house. Now, another thing that you need to consider when renting an apartment or buying a house is what zone you have. Like there's a lot of things that you can look into. You can look into like flooding, historical flooding. In the internet, you can look at geotechnical reports to see what type of soil that you have, like if you don't have any foundation problems or stuff like that. You can also look at crime index, to see if you're in a safe area. Other things that you can look into is like what is around, like for example, how far is the grocery store, how far is the park, how far are the gyms, these are things that are very important, landscaping kind of things. And all of these like makes together like the envelope or like if this apartment is worth it or not. A lot of times you compromise, but again, like I would recommend you to write everything down and like don't be like, oh my god, this apartment is so nice, I'm gonna move here. No, try not to rent or buy a house with your heart. Try to buy it with your brain, because eventually that's a kind of like an investment, or not investment, but it's something that you want to be very careful about, because it's a lot of money, and you're gonna be spending there a good amount of time. Like let's say for example you move to this apartment and then you have junkies as neighbors, or I don't know, like you're like some the neighbors are very loud, or there's a lot of bugs or something, then you're gonna be like, damn it, because a lot of these apartments, they have a 1-year lease or 6-month lease, and now you're screwed. You're gonna be living there for a while. So these are all things to consider. My recommendation is like, see your salary, how much money you make on average. See if you're gonna be living with a roommate, or if you're gonna be being sponsored by someone, or I don't know. And try to make like an adjustment of how much can you pay for rent, so that it doesn't hurt your life. For example, I would not pay for more than $1,000 for an apartment personally, because it's not that I cannot pay for more. It's just that if I start paying more for an apartment, some things that I like to do, I wouldn't be able to do them. Like for example, I could not be able to pay for, not that I couldn't be able, but it would be a little harder for me to to go out to get drinks every weekend, or like to you know, to go out to eat. You know, I would need to be more conscious about, and I hate that. I don't like having to hold back because of dumb things. So I'd rather live in a maybe like a little more modest apartment and do all the things that I want, like traveling and all this stuff, because I really don't spend a lot of time in an apartment. So that's my opinion. Like, you might be different, but at the same time, that doesn't mean you don't have to think about it. Like, even if you're like a spoiled brat and you want to live in a nice place, you need to compromise. So for example, maybe you live in a nice area but get a roommate, or maybe you live in a nice area but like think about how to make more profit, or like is there any feasible way to like be keeping it a steady income that will like help you like pay for this, or like that will not make it hurt. If there's not a solution, then suck it up and like go to another place. You know, like you need to be mindful. You need to be saving money for the future, and you need to be thoughtful about what you spend your money on. Alright guys, this was a very long video and I talked for a long time. I hope you like this video and subscribe to my channel, guys. Have a good one.